Good morning. Good morning and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Victor Marie and I'm delighted to be the co-celebrant in this morning's service. If you are a first-time visitor or a returning visitor, speaking on behalf of this community, let me say welcome. We're so glad you're here. Love, we say, is the doctrine of our church, and it's our intention and our hope that the defining quality of your experience with us today is love. Love of yourself, love of your neighbor, and love of life. Our time together this morning is an expression of that love. In music, spoken words, reflection, meditation, and inspiration, we've come together in compassion and respect for ourselves and one another. As a part of this community today, we have love to receive and love to give. Our pulpit today is graced by Reverend Lori King Nelson. Lori holds a Master of Divinity degree from TCU, and we are blessed by her affinity with Unitarianism. Lori, we always welcome the expression of your calling here with us, and we're so grateful for the inspiration we receive in your sharing. Thank you. Before we continue our service, please note a few reminders and announcements. Now, if you're a visitor today and you haven't signed in at the visitors table that's just in the entrance when you come in the door, please do. It gives us an opportunity to acknowledge your visit today, and if you welcome it, to send you weekly announcements and our monthly newsletter. And if you've been visiting here and considering membership, please find me after the service or ask for Dan Sexton, and we'll be delighted to share with you more about what that means to become a member of this community. At 1 p.m. today, the Trans Inclusion in Congregations course will be held from 1 to 2:30 p.m. in Jagger's Parlor. Please join us for the final session, which relates to understanding congregational culture and changing congregational culture. Rain?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Brain Brady, and I'm the new Religious Education Coordinator here at All Peoples. As we all know, our Director of Religious Education, Sarah, will be leaving us next month, and I will be taking over for her. Yay! Yay! Our RE program is crucial for the expansion of knowledge and fellowship within our community, but more importantly, for our youth, and our amazing work cannot be done without the help of volunteers. Today at 12, not 11, my bad, after service, we will be hosting a little RE table talk in Jagger's Parlor. If you are interested or if you have in the past, please join us there for a little, I'm sorry, I forgot how to read today. If you have in the past or you haven't, but are interested in volunteering for religious education, I ask that you all meet me there today to talk about the future of our program, volunteer opportunities, and to have an open discussion on what ideas you guys might have for our RE program as well. Thank you.
Very quick announcement. So apparently I've been bullied again. So you remember last time I did a sermon, we did that, basically the disco one with the karaoke, and everyone sang along, we did pop music, which if anyone viewing online you did not see because it was 100% guaranteed to get content matched on things, so we didn't stream it. But we had lots of pop songs and karaoke and everyone sang and everyone had a good time, and generally it was a party one. So they want me to do it again, which I'm willing to do, but now that you've all seen it once, you've got a better idea of the kind of songs I'm looking for. So rather than me just dredging my mind for things and coming up with songs, which I'm willing to do, but then you have my music taste to contend with, which, as you know, last time was... So I need some suggestions for songs for another one. We're hoping to do it on May 19th, which is also the congressional meeting. So we'll have a party service and then go into the meeting, hopefully in a good mood. So if anyone's got any suggestions for songs, we're looking for upbeat, easy to sing, very popular songs, ones that most people will have heard of and can sing along to, that also might have good videos that I can do karaoke for would be beneficial. And if you have some... It could be very tenuous, but if you can come up with some tenuous reason why it fits in with a UU service for me to justify playing it, that's kind of what I need. Just bear in mind, depending on how much time I've got to write the service, I'm either going to introduce it myself, or I'm going to pull you up here to justify why you chose that song. So make sure you have at least some vague, made-up reason why you chose it, other than I really like this song and want to hear everyone sing it. So if you could let me know, just come and find me, I'll write it down, or email me, or come and think about it for a week and come and see me next week, whatever. But yeah, some song suggestions would be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Misha. Will you join me as we prepare ourselves for worship? May we learn from our ancestors and our mistakes. May we learn from one another, from within and without, from here and galactic distances. May we always yearn for truth, seeking it in every moment of our lives, cultivating it in every word and action. Let us unsettle ourselves on this journey. Ask why. Ask how. Ask.
Stand in body or spirit for the chalice lighting. Our opening hymn is hymn number 38, and our spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Reverend Marjorie Montgomery. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Let us sing. Like the first morning, blackbird has spoken. Join with me now as we read our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. You may be seated. The young and the young at heart are now invited to come forward for our time for all ages here at the front of our chancel.
How you doing, Lauren?
I'm great, Rain. I'm so excited to have someone young at heart here. I want to know what you did with the rest of the young people.
They may or may not have gotten a little gobbled up this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you can pass this message on to them when you see them. I was going to allow them to play with my little fidget box while I was talking. Okay. It's a lot of fun. I was going to talk to them about how maybe someone might not understand what neurodivergency is about, and might see someone playing with something like that and just take it right out of their hands and be like, can't you just sit still? Yeah, but I'm not that kind of person. So being neurodivergent myself, yes, which we are led to believe that this is something that is uncommon and some kind of brain disorder, when it's actually very common and just a place on the spectrum are you and I on how our brain works. All of us are there together, just in different spots. I think that it's important to ask questions, and that's what I was talking about today, is asking why. Or asking what? Or tell me more? Or just learning about what goes on around us and how others experience life. Because I'm not experiencing the same way you're experiencing it. So it's important to know how others experience it as well. I had some books up here because I was also going to talk about how some people would like to just yank books out of our hands so that we will not learn about certain things. Yeah. Like learning about poverty among people who actually hold jobs. Yeah. Learning about the history of enslaved people. Learning about climate and environmental issues. Learning about the intersection of queerness and homelessness. So there are a lot of people who would see fit to take these out of our libraries because they don't want our brains absorbing that kind of information because that's not how they think. And I'm sorry, but we can't think like them.
Absolutely not.
Not ever. Yeah. We're on a quest for truth here, right? All right. That's right. That's right. No truth and fear. So I want you to go about this week, starting today, and ask somebody a question a day. Don't take no for an answer. Make them answer you. Yeah. Find something really strange and ask them. And then have them explore it with you. See where you get with that. Okay. Have a great week. Thanks. Can we sing Rain out of here? Or back to her seat? As we leave this we place to a free place, may the kindness which we learn return. So I have two readings this morning. The first one is in honor of Sophia Lyon-Foss, whose anniversary of her death is today. She brought us so much. She brought us religious education. She brought us different ways of thinking and moving about in the world, and we're so grateful for that. So in honor of her, I will read her poem, And So the Children Come. And so the children come, and so they have been coming. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men or women see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Yet each night a child arrives is a holy night. Fathers and mothers, sitting beside their sleeping children's beds, feel glory in the sight of new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end? Each day a child arrives as a holy day, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. My second reading comes from Small, Small World. They're invisible, they're everywhere, and they rule, by Nathan Wolfe. We've known about bacteria, which make up much of the mass of life on Earth, only since Antony van Leeuwenhoek began training his microscopes on samples of pond water and saliva some 350 years ago. Viruses, much smaller than bacteria but far more numerous than all other life forms combined, were discovered not much more than a century ago, when people were already driving around in automobiles. And it is only in the past few decades that we have come to realize how ubiquitous microbes are, flourishing from the tops of clouds to miles below the Earth's surface. We've just begun to understand how vital they are to our health and to the health of the Earth. We pride ourselves on having explored nearly every corner of this planet. But behind our world is a shadow world of microbes, and they are often calling the shots.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sarah Burrell Harrop, and I have been tasked with talking to y'all about stewardship. Before I do that, I want to mention about the table talk. There's lunch provided, and it will be set up in Jaggers, and it's a nice lunch, so come. So I've had the honor and privilege to be in community with y'all for 2 years. And when you think of stewardship, we talk about time, talent, and treasure. But what is that going to? And in my context as Director of Religious Education, when we talk about faith formation, so I'm going to speak to you based on my context, faith formation is all that we do in the congregation, everything, every interaction. It's how folks can come here and clarify their values, talk to people that are different than them, listen to people that are different than them, find out, oh, life is different than I thought it was. No, I'm not going to go back and search my values again and think about, like, how do I want my life to change based on what I've learned? And then to live our values out in the world. But we, All People's Church, needs to be here for that to happen. Just last week, we were approached by a community group, and we get approached by a lot of community groups, since we have community events here. Bands Off Our Body and the TEA Fund, the T Fund, asked, can we do abortion care kits for people who are seeking abortions in New Mexico, and period care kits? And we're like, sure. And they came and they did it, and they said it was very successful. They had more people show up than had ever shown up. And they packed 100 kits. And so we can support the community, but we have to be here for that to happen. As we're supporting the community, you know, our congregation has been a leader in providing our whole lives OWL sexuality education, with the perspective that all genders are whole and holy, that sexuality is a gift and a beautiful thing, and that we honor responsible choices, we give information freely. So we offer OWL into the community, but we have to be here for that to happen. Children and youth come to this place. They're living in this world of domination and control, and we allow them to experience a counter-cultural collective. To be here in a community that's built on trust, on compassion, on relationship, and interdependence. And we have to be here. We have to be in this place for that to happen. And that is why I'm asking you to contribute your time, your talent, and your treasure. You put your money towards what you care about. you come and you volunteer in the way that feels right for you. And you discern your own call for service based on the gifts that you have to meet the needs of this hurting world. And so we have this pledge drive coming on. And I just think of the bigger picture. Think of these things, because we have to be here to continue to be the force, a force, we're not the only ones, for love and compassion and beauty in this world. Was I supposed to do the other part of the offertory as well, or, okay. Okay, all right. So each Sunday we do take half of the non-dedicated cash offering that's received, and we share it with an organization that's local, whose values and goals reflect our own, and so we're force multipliers into the world. And I'm so happy that this quarter we support the Texas UU Justice Ministry, or as we call it, TexUJM. TexUJM is a statewide justice ministry that raises the voice of Unitarian Universalist values in the public square, and we seek to have those values enacted into legislation and public policy. And so at this time, we ask that you give generously of your heart and in the way that feels right to you. And so the gifts of the congregation will be gratefully received. And so will the ushers and the choir please come forward to take us through our offering.
In honor of this month, let me be interdependent. We're not saying for you guys two pieces. The first one is titled Connected by Brian Tate. Some of the lyrics consist of speaking of the idea that we are all one person. I am you, you are me, is a common song. You listen to that. And our second piece is titled United in Purpose by Rollo Hilbert, with the text one from Maya Angelou. In the first line states, the onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition.
Amen.
I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am you on me. That's what I said. I am you on me. Don't you see? I am a part of you. You are a part of me. And so together we are one body. I am inside your head. You are inside my heart. We
We fit together, perfect from the start.
You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am. You are me. That's what I said. I am. You are me. Don't you see? I am a part of you. You are a part of me. And so together we are one body. I'm inside your head. You are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from start.
The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. Perform good deeds for others truly, the way to battle the forces of entropy that are at work in this world. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The onus is upon us all to work to improve the human condition. The composite of all our efforts, the composite of all our efforts and good effects.
Wow, I know
Yeah.
I am always saying how lucky we are here to have this level of musicians performing for us and enriching our services. Thank you all, choir and Misha and Joshua. Thank you. Y'all are so wonderful. In this time when we seek a connection with all that is our life, we do so that we may give a place for the great questions of our lives, for our longings, and our celebrations. As a religious community, we covenant to share both our joys and our sorrows. Each week, there is a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of hope or memory before the service. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles here next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of the chancel. In our book of memory and hope this morning, we have been asked to remember the flowers on the chancel here are a gift in honor of Tony Collins. Thank you, Tony, for serving the church as board treasurer, and most of all, happy 70th birthday. And they said, remember, we're not getting older, we're getting better. The next note is that this is Don't Forget to Feed Me Sunday. Let's help financially stressed family keep the pets that inspire compassion and generosity in us human animals. You can see Jo Burnham and hand her some money. Or look for the green envelope by the greeter's desk. Passing on a desire to give strength and gratitude to Michael and Colleen for hauling food to Eastside Ministries for the pets. They take this time of their own to keep this ministry going. Eastside is still trying to recover from the fire. Lend a hand if you can. We will have a few moments of quiet meditation and then music. Thank you so much for that. Let's do a little exercise, not like, let's quieten ourselves. Maybe close your eyes. Breathe in. Feel the air pass through your nostrils and move into your nose. Your diaphragm contracts, pulling the air deep into your chest. Oxygen floods into tiny cavities in your lungs and travels into your capillaries, ready to fuel every cell in your body. You're alive. That's a great way to start, huh? By reminding ourselves that we're alive in this magnificent world. You know, when Kendra Weddle was still teaching at Texas Wesleyan University, she invited a few of her former students to cover her classes while she was out of town. We could present on whatever topic we wished, and so I sent a short 2-page article for the students to read prior to the class, which exactly none read. As I found out when I asked, what stood out to you when you read the article on gut bacteria? Okay, that might seem an odd topic for a religion class, but my point was to make them think about ecosystems, especially those inside of us that we can't see, and our interconnectedness and dependence on all aspects of creation. I also wanted to get them thinking about how, deep inside us, there are continuous wars happening between good bacteria and bad bacteria, and how we can reconcile that to our faith beliefs. And by that I mean, bacteria is killing bacteria 24/7, and our religious culture teaches us that murder is unacceptable. So how do we reconcile faith with systems that rely on the death of others for survival? Think for a moment about the ecosystem we have here at All People's Church. The community garden that nourishes us in the spring and summer and nourishes all that lives underneath when the plants die and are returned to the soil. The members who pass, the new ones who join us, all dependent on the love and care received in our midst. It's critical, in my opinion, that we understand as much as humanly possible about the ecosystem we reside in, as well as those that reside in us. Our survival relies on the asking of questions, even if we never find answers. And thinking for ourselves, even if we occasionally get it wrong. Having faith that the truth is out there, waiting for us to discover it. I don't necessarily mean faith as it pertains to religion, although that is by far the best example of how faith can completely negate ever having to think for yourself ever again. When we talk about faith as complete trust or confidence in someone or something, we can see where faith can be a force of tremendous good or horrific bad. When you remove the need to question something, you remove any reason for that thing to change. When your most valuable asset, your ability to reason, is subsumed into a concept not of your making, you have lost your individuality, your uniqueness. You've lost your sense of self. I watched a documentary recently that chronicled the rise of disinformation and white nationalism. It's called The Antisocial Network, about the beginnings of 2chan, an anonymous internet site in Japan that was copied as 4chan in the US and later morphed into 8chan. What started as an anonymous site to post the silliest or most racist content without repercussions soon became filled with hate rhetoric, Nazi garbage, and conspiracy theories. I'm not going to say it was all bad. The social change group Anonymous rose from 4chan and made some very positive impacts on American culture and government. But much of the community that was being built there was being driven by forces outside of that community, effectively spreading misinformation and creating a place where the extreme alt-right could thrive and grow. I encourage you to view the documentary. It outlined, for me, the many ways we believe we are thinking for ourselves when the reality is the opposite. This, too, is an ecosystem, a community that relies on groupthink to grow a different way of being in community with others. It's easy to get drawn in to not having to think for yourself. You know, when humans first became self-aware, somewhere around 60,000 to 200,000 years ago, give or take millions of years, I don't know a whole lot about that, the number of things to fear rose exponentially. Animals don't fear an eclipse, but humans have managed to attribute countless negative interpretations to this natural phenomenon. I know several people who prepared for the rapture by stocking up on necessities and staying close to home in case they were not among the chosen. Yeah. I question my friendships sometimes. Others, maybe having watched too many episodes of Ancient Aliens, posted on social media that they were either going into hiding so the aliens wouldn't find them, or having outdoor parties so they would find them. With self-awareness comes both the need for rationality or reason for something, and the trait that I think truly defines us most as humans: curiosity. When you're absolutely certain of something, you can effectively ignore it. I have absolute faith that the sun will rise tomorrow, and really, why wouldn't it? The difference between that example and a faith in religion, for example, is both tangibility and direct experience. The sun has come up every day that I've been alive. That's proof enough for me. But what if I base my faith on a concept that has only been passed on by others or out of a book? What does that do to our thinking? In some cases, clearly not much, but some of the worst horrors in history have been perpetuated based on interpretations of words written centuries before. What if I told you that the sun would set a final time on a specific day in the next century? Well, you probably wouldn't believe me, but someone might if I said I had done the math after reading some obscure Mayan document. It wouldn't matter that I was a less than stellar math student or that the document may or may not exist. Someone would believe it. And what happens when these thoughts become mandatory? When not having the same thoughts becomes a valid reason to violate the rights of others? I read an article this week about Christian nationalist preacher Joel Webbon, who said he doesn't allow his wife or children to read anything he has not first approved, ensuring a continuous echo chamber in his house, church, and community. Again, this is not just religion, but science, sports, and even politics aren't immune from unshakable faith. Scientists and sports fans and politicians and their followers have committed atrocious acts because in their mind, the victims were so wrong that their very lives deserved to be taken from them. How sad it must be believing that scientists, scholars, historians, economists, and journalists have devoted their entire lives to deceiving us, while a person on TV or the internet or social media with decades of fraud and exhaustively documented lying is the only beacon of truth and honesty, said someone on the internet. It's a combination of things that keeps this destructive force self-perpetuating, from bigoted parents teaching their kids to hate, to inflexible older generations unable or unwilling to adapt, to a general unwillingness to admit when we're wrong, hiding bigotry against sexual orientation behind the Bible, racial bigotry behind past atrocities, and murder behind a God, all have their roots in the natural byproduct of misplaced faith, ignorance. Sophia Lyon-Fawes encouraged people to think for themselves and devoted her life to religious education that encouraged children and young people to question everything in their search for truth. She believed that our most important learning is experiential, that every encounter with life is a possibility for deeper learning about who we are, what matters, and how we connect with that which is sacred. Sometimes that means having experiences that are not so positive, and yet moving forward with the understanding that this too is a part of the interconnectedness we share in our universe. Just like the good microbes in our gut are connected to the bad, so are we connected to the people who believe in rapture, or aliens, or white supremacy, or climate change as a hoax, or Pizzagate. I have no answers for any of this. All I can do is try and not be part of the problem. Life is not fair. Life just is. And your life is what you make of it. I can ask questions that might get someone thinking, or hear one that gets me thinking. And maybe that sparks the beginning of a new thought process that asks deeper, more important questions about the incredible ecosystem we share and how we can be a positive force within it. Catherine Lemon, a microbiome researcher at Forsyth Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts, says, "We know how to disturb a community. What we need to learn is how to coax it back into a healthy state." That's a powerful statement that can be applied to our own way of being in the natural world, and also our way of being in community with each other. Understanding our place in the larger world means we have to be asking questions to help us understand our place in our own tiny neighborhood, ourselves. I stand here as such a minuscule piece of the ecosystem in which I reside. I also stand here as a vessel for ecosystems I know nothing about. There's a deep spirituality in seeing ourselves as both inhabitant and host, as nurturing and hostile, as benefactor and beneficiary. I find I am inclined to treat that which lives alongside me in the same way I treat that which lives inside me, as a fellow traveler to be cared for and managed to the benefit of the whole. Nathan Wolfe, a microbiologist with Stanford University, says, "This perspective on our relationship with microbes as fellow travelers to be cared for and managed to our benefit is a far cry from my day job view of them as killers to be hunted down and eradicated before they can spread." Both views are valid, of course. We should never let our guard down against the threat of infectious pathogens. I would add that we should never let our guard down in our search for truth, because the more we know, the better equipped we are to be on this journey together, making us better hosts, making us better guests in this mystery we are ever so slowly unraveling. At the end of class, one of the students who had sat silently through all of the discussion raised his hand and asked, "So if I drink something that gets rid of bad bacteria, or if I brush my teeth, am I a murderer?" He will never know how happy I was to know that he was just paying attention and thinking that I actually asked a question and he thought about it. I told him I had no answer for that, but what a great question it was to consider as we expand our thinking about our connection to the world around us. On this, the anniversary of Sophia Lyon-Fa's death, it is my hope that you will honor her contributions to our way of being in this world by posing a question to someone, a question that helps us learn about the systems through which we move every day. Pose a question to yourself, one that sends you on a journey of discovery, an experiential quest. Ask why. Ask how. But ask. Will you rise as you are able and willing as we sing our closing hymn, number 354, We Laugh, We Cry.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. We extinguish this flame, but not the warmth of community. We extinguish this flame, but not the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
If you would like a copy of the article by Nathan Wolfe, please let me know. I'd be happy to email it to you. I hope you'll look around you to what and who make this a special place to stretch and grow ourselves. The co-celebrants, the sound people, the ushers, the kitchen folk, committees, board members, office staff, religious education, the choir, Misha and Joshua, the caretakers of the plants, building, and grounds. The sign out front does not change itself. All of those who do the behind-the-scenes work to make this ecosystem function. Ask them why they do what they do, and maybe throw in a bit of thanks. You are alive, so is that breath you just took. When we inhale, our nostrils capture millions of invisible particles, dust, pollen, sea spray, volcanic ash, plant spores. These specks in turn host a teeming community of bacteria and viruses, putting the richness of air in the same league as that of soil. That from which we were created and will return, giving truth to the connectedness and dependence of all things. Service has ended. We invite you to stay for coffee and conversation in the library and go about having a beautiful